and welcome back to Lincoln World 4. We were going to do another route, pretty much route suggestion pick I made a bit of time ago as the Flying Scotsman turns up on the predictions ages ago, which is the Wight Steam, by the way. But I will also, while I'm here, do the Steam Day version of the island as well. Starting off with the Steam Day, the Steam Array side of things, so the heritage. We put a bit more back so you can actually see the Flying Scotsman a bit more. Might be to me a small bit biased because it is my local railway side of things. Starting off with obviously the actual heritage lengthwise is, fortwise is, to be fair, not long. It isn't long at all. Obviously a standard gauge. So, and it is about 5.5 miles of countryside, pretty much between Smallbrook and Wootton. Obviously, that's probably might not be counting a full round trip. And by that, there's currently no planned expansion is going to happen because of our Southwestern. So blame them on that one. So nothing will change. That will not change for quite some time. The only thing that will change along the line is one bridge is coming down this winter, and that's down to safety reasons. And that is Bridge 12, which is the bridge. It was originally the only bridge that was on the steam railway that was an overbridge for anything to go, for farm traffic to go over. That doesn't happen now because farm traffic doesn't actually come over it anymore, and it's been left. And I mean left. I thought that was a networker coming in there. So, obviously, for that I am going to say, as there's nothing happening, I would say set it for around now, or whenever the route gets built. Basically it can be, because there's no plans on getting any new locos, no new rolling stock plant to be brought in anyway, apart from what we have restored. And when it comes to, we'll start off with the loco side of things, and if I can, I'm going to go in order. And I'm going off this theme first. We've got W24 Cowball, which is the last surviving Adams 02 steam loco. 2 Terriers in A1X form, W11 Newport and W8 Freshwater, and W11 Newport has recently ended her boiler ticket. Well, officially anyway, her last one in days has happened, and 8 is currently undergoing overhaul. Then we've got W37 Invincible, which is is probably the more famous one because it's on Train Sim Classic, and it only is, and with the unpack on Train Sim Classic is the only RIP train that is on that for the steam side. Then we've also got W38 Ajax, which hasn't actually ran since 2014 due to she's actually out for overhaul, but not in any plans at the moment. Saying that Invincible's been out since 2009 for overhaul. So, and she's not been touched one bit apart from a kit of coat of paint before the pandemic side of things happened. So when it comes to, and obviously you've got the island that owns 2 Hunslets and three Hunslets, but only 2 on the island. 198 Royal Engineer, and the other one being 192 Wagoner, which only this year came back into service after overhaul. And we own 2 MT tanks, which is 41298 and 41313, and they're both named after the people that saved them. So I've completely got the names of, my bad. And also, admittedly, an E1 class of loco, which is W2 Yarmouth, which is literally in bits at the moment, waiting on a new boiler, and she hasn't actually steamed it on the island. And I mean that entire loco itself hasn't steamed on the island, since that E1 never actually ran on the island back in steam. So when it comes to diesels, we've got a Class 03 diesel shunter, which is D259, which is in a very poor state looking at the eyes at the moment, because they really need to repaint. Class 05 shunter, which is named Nuclear Fred, which actually was the last loco to run over the line from Haven Street to Ryde before the line got lifted, and also happened to be the first loco to run over the line in heritage format. So yeah, I'm not kidding under that one. She really was. And also another diesel shunter, which is 235, which is a Barclays shunter, which I can't remember the full term of it. She's the only one that actually has an actual whistle. And Nuclear Fred is actually a bit of a poor state now, so she spends 99% of her time in train storing. And also for a multiple unit side of things, we've got at the moment only the one part of it in use, but the form of ride pier tram car. And I say only one bit because the other bit hasn't actually been started yet on getting built wise. And at the same time, at some point in the future, we don't know what we're going to do with it still, to be fairness, apart from use it as a museum piece. But the 483 007 as well, which is in train story. Pardon me. Why do I think the Steam Maori is a good pick? Well, how do I say that? It's one of the oldest routes in Train Sim Classic. One of them anyway. And it's pretty much, for the time of the release wise, it won't, in what has happened down at Haven Street now, and Wootton, Smallbrook and so forth. But to its time that the route is set in, the overall it still stands up today, to be fair. It's one of the routes which you could never get wrong with because it's also lush countryside, especially very handy with the mode of camera mode, and also for different, something a bit different, ignoring that parked up there. And it will be primarily, you own all of our locos are air braked. That doesn't include Nuclear Thread, because that can only be used with vacuum, and that hasn't been fitted with air brake, but it's down to being knackered. And 235's not actually got an air brake, it's only got air brakes on the loco itself, that's it. And that's just used for shunting, it's not going to be used for hauling passenger trains anywhere. when it comes to obviously rolling stock, we've got, to be fairness, not Mark 1s and not Mark 2s, we've got older. So we've got former South Eastern and Chatham Railway bogie coaches, and possibly the same with the four-wheelers, they're pre that as well. And we've also got currently one Horbury coach, which was the only carriage supplied new to the island back in Sting, years and years and years ago. Something's coming through. Right, right. When it comes, obviously we do have a couple goods trains. We've got hoppers. It was once owned by a British Rail Network South East, but they were donated to us. Like most of the things, to be fair. We've had a load of things donated to us over the years. The 03 wasn't one donated from Ireland, no. We had to donate it to them for a bit. So, yeah. Obviously, like I said, the island is probably quite unique in terms of air pump for the train. Spies can only be hauled with air brakes. So you will be hearing what's on this constantly pumping. Not like this one stopped halfway through after so long of pumping up the train rise. Because they will keep pumping. They will not stop pumping up. And there's another train right behind that service down there. Which I'm going to fly on like some board to sit in that. So yeah, nor the 08 parked up, that's what I'm using. Oh hello 77. I think you're on the wrong spot. South Eastern. But yeah. So like I said, it's quite a unique line. Shush. So while I'm here, I will include the Steam Day version of the railway as well while I'm here. That's nice. I'm guessing you've timed out. Which the island once had about 55 miles of track. So that is not even possibly going to be, it's probably about the same length or less than the Brighton main line is. Fair enough, that's without yards and stuff counted in, I believe. So some's coming through non-stop. So when it comes to everything, I think there's a very big chance that the Steam Day version might come out as well. And that's obviously it, and for that it would have probably be better off being modelled pre-1950s, because 1955 was actually the start date of the lines on the island closing. So anything before that to have all lines, and that does mean have a lot of services. I didn't count timetables into these Steam Day things like that. I don't know how frequent trains were back in Steam, but I think they were actually quite frequent, to the point when I think you were almost seeing the train leave during the summer months down Wight Pier was every 10 minutes, I think it might have been. 10 minutes, I think it might have been. But that was ultimately like trains splitting off going, or once every 15. No, it wouldn't have been a bit more frequent than that, I think. So very frequently during the summer months coming down the pier, with some going towards Newport via Haven Street, Wootton, through Whippenham Station as well, into Newport. Then some might have continued on to East Cowes, not East Cowes, I mean Cowes. And then ultimately the other line going to Ventnor through obviously Braden, Sandown, Shanklin, Vauxhall and on to Ventnor, with some trains only going as far as Shanklin, running around and going back. And at the same time, you'd always have to be going, you won't be going all the time looking forward like the Flying Scotsman. You will be running bunker first as well, because there was no turntables on the island. Kind of. There was a traverser at my mind's just died, Bembridge, because there was no room to fit a runaround loop in, full on runaround loop in. And just before you ask, nothing's left of that line now, of Bembridge Station now. But you can already in the current routes for on here for Island Line, for both Island Lines, you can see what was once the line off to Bembridge. You can see Shanklin Station being double track. You can see the line from Sandown to Newport quite clearly, because that's more or less still active. You can still use. So yeah, I've got wind, but no one's supposed to, and that's got its diesel engine running. So yeah, when it comes to like the stock wise, it's literally, as I've already mentioned, the Adams O2s, Terriers, and E1s you can pick from. This is in some respect, whatever comes out with the Steam Day version, they shouldn't bother with having it with the Heritage version. They should have it as so vice versa can cross over. But that won't work for Steam from Heritage to Steam Days, because obviously the Heritage, they're only bothering one version of it, not all of them. I think it should be I think they can do it anyway. Have it so, if they did the Steam Day version and then do the Heritage version, don't model W24 Cowboy into that one. Have it so it passes it over, and you get both versions of Bitter Shroud Black and Southern Malachite. That's not a swear word. So yeah, I can keep going. Yeah, I think this might be the longest one. And then going back to the Steam Day, but not Steam Days, the Heritage one. We run this year. We're running 3 timetables: a green, blue, and a red. Red is 2 train service. Blue and green are just 1 train service. The green timetable is finished earlier. That's it. And that's not including, obviously, a steam show timetable and event timetable wise. And I'm going to do something else as well with these both now. Do some for some scenarios. Scenarios for the Heritage wise could be, say, if you got the O3 or have the O3 as DLC, they could be the O3 has to go and rescue one of the locos, because that's what it is used for primarily. Apart from it can get used on the trains as well, and it will if it has to go and rescue one. Or if we do diesel galas, obviously then you got perhaps do a scenario for steam show type of thing, or just a normal day as the introduction to the line side of things. So to be fair, there's not much you can do for scenarios on the island. There's not many timetable ones you can do either. Yes, fair enough, but it's the unique side of things. Then for the Steam Day version, to be fairness, they could probably almost model the last train, the final train in service wise. Fair enough, it won't have the head code properly on it. Hello, going non-stop through. So on the last train, it was actually a double header, which would not have happened otherwise. And at the same time, they can almost model it'd be very inaccurate, but model almost them electrifying the line between my pier and Trangulum with using W24 Cowborn and W31 Chael. And that's how you're supposed to say it, by the way. It's not Kale, it's Chael. Because they were both used in the electrification of the Ireland line. That is also how W24 came to survive, to be fairness. W31 didn't, unfortunately. She was cut up by BR by mistake, apparently. But the other story about engines being surviving is W8 Freshwater was mounted on a plinth outside of the pubs on Hayling Island. She was one of the last locos to run on the line. On the Hayling Island branch on the last day of service. She got literally dumped on the plinth and then saved by us. She came to the island filled with ash still, so she was pretty much just after being steamed, she was dumped on the plinth. And Diver at 41313 went to Barry Scrapyard. And it is in photos, that's Barry Scrapyard, just to point that one out. And other locos that the island does own on the island is another Ivet, which is a tended Ivet, which is 46447, which is on the Somerset Railway, which is on permanent loan deal with them because we haven't got anywhere to really fit it and we can't run it around up at Wootton. And also a Hunslet, which is named Juno, which is in the crew which is in a museum in locomotion in crew, and actually featured on a video a couple of weeks ago now with her being there. So I'm going to say I'm going to now end it here then. If you are curious, that's a free, that 08 down there is what I'm using to have free cam. That was placed in free roam. If I just forward it and release the brakes, you can't actually hear the whistle from there. Get it moving. There you go. That's what I'm using. Over there. So. There you go. So that will be a feature coming more for me, I think. So I'm gonna leave it here then, guys. It's a shame the flying's cost me, hasn't it? So I'm gonna leave it here then, guys. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more great content. And I will see you in the next video. I haven't gone southeastern yet. So I will see you then. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you'll have an awesome day. Off it goes. I'll let you watch this go. Goodbye.